now, there's a lot of Obama worshiping going on. A lot of hosts are saying he's a man of the Lord. He's good. He cares about us. After all, the Truth Squad say you might be arrested. We're all learning about our new freedom. Of course, it doesn't even matter. Obama, I mean, if we don't get Ron Paul, it's Mitt Romney. I mean, that's a guy who's Barack Obama from a different party. I mean, he's a brother from another mother. He's these guys. The only difference is one has a D before his name, the other has an R before his name. Exact same policies, but it's so much fun to hate Obama and to feel like you're a winner if your guy gets into office. All right, that's just some of the little in sundry news articles. Here's another one. Vladimir Putin ridiculed after demanding Russians have more sex to halt declining population. Yeah, their population is smaller than Pakistan and Bangladesh now. It's gone down from 200 million to 142 million in the last 30 years. Communism didn't do too good for them. It was eugenics. And they do pay people to get married. They do encourage people to have children, large families. They got billboards up. The government pays you to have children. Boy, look at the difference. Again, I'm no fan of Putin, KGB guy, all this. But compared to the New World Order, he's just old-fashioned strongman trying to hold his crumbling country together. The globalists running our country are poisoning our food and water. Our population's at 1.3 replacement rate. For every 2 adults, they have 1.3 children, except for the giant immigrant influx. Western culture is completely dying. Pat Buchanan's written about it in Death of the West. Japan's dying. They have 1.2. Italy's 1.2. I mean, all these cultures are dying because we're under the eugenic system. I mean, and then Putin's bad for saying there should be Russians in the future. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to see there being, no South Africans in the future, or no, Japanese in the future, or no Mexicans in the future, or no Germans in the future. I mean, this is incredible. The eugenicists have taught us to all hate ourselves and all hate our cultures, but only love the plastic, fake, MSG, aspartame, Miley Cyrus garbage culture. Justin Bieber garbage. We have been totally and completely force-fed this death, and it's all by design. We have all the documents, how they destroy the family in the 20s and 30s, how they'd break it up, how they'd create welfare to make you dependent. Once you're dependent, then they'd play the welfare class off against the middle class, the real enemy, and force sterilization, then of the poor, in that next phase, and we're entering that next phase. And I read to you World Bank documents yesterday where they said, have mobile sterilization vans. If you want to get your welfare, you'll have to be sterilized. Of course, then it'll be moved on to everybody else as well. And then, of course, the Detroit newspaper came out yesterday and said, put sterilants in the water for everybody. I got news for you, Jack. I got the White House Science Czar. I got the Rockefeller documents. I got them all. It's on record. They're already jacking the water. They're already jacking the food. They're already doing it. That's why people ask, well, why can the inner city people still have kids, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, but yuppies that are mainly white, but also Hispanic and black, why can't they have kids? It's real simple. When they're hitting you with soft kill stuff, if you're 16 or 17, you can still have a child on average. This stuff is cumulative to build up, so it can't be directed and pointed at one causal instrument. So you wait to be 30, 35, 40 to have a kid, you're going to have to go get Buck Rogers type technology to be able to have that child, which is exactly what the globalists want. They'll then sell you the treatments to have a child after they've made you infertile. But by law, they're now announcing, as I said they would years ago, saying, but if you're going to get these therapies, we've got to be able to change genes that we say are bad, because now there's government funding involved under the socialist health care. So your child's going to have 3 parents. We're going to put somebody else's genetics in there to fix it. We are back live. Yeah, I'm playing this because I saw in the news today that they're going to put more women in frontline combat in the Marine Corps and in the Army. That's what that old piece of propaganda was about with Jessica Lynch, when they said that she had engaged in all this incredible combat and killed all of these Iraqi troops while the men cowered. And, of course, it turned out the whole thing was a big Pentagon PR lie, so that they can basically in the future have a national draft that the federal government's been promoting to then conscript our daughters in to basically be camp women for the military. And, of course, rape is just epidemic when you put women in combat. Every culture, in every war, the soldiers get out of control and tend to rape the women of the countries they're occupying. It's just what happens. I have to say that the British marveled in the Revolutionary War. Almost all of George Washington's soldiers never engaged in any types of disreputable activity. And you know why? Because George Washington hung people. See, the minute a military lets their troops engage in any type of activity like this, everything goes to the devil. Everything just goes completely wild. Once you give in to this type of activity, society collapses. And that's why George Washington executed people and made examples out of it. Oh, you did something disreputable? You're dead. Because George Washington understood and wrote about the fact that, A, it was the moral thing to do, but B, that's how they're going to win the hearts and minds, is not behaving like the redcoats who'd been burning and pillaging all over the world and came to the United States, came to the colonies, and were burning down churches, raping women, engaging in all sorts of war crimes. That, of course, worked against them and began to turn the population who were British subjects towards the rebellion that was only 3% of the population. That's why the globalists are going to stage false flag attacks in the future to be blamed on the liberty movement or try to provocateur people into doing things. Patriots never target civilian targets. Patriots never start a fight. You understand that? Patriots give quarter. Patriots don't lie. And patriots have courage. That's what patriots do. And they're patriots to basic liberty and basic freedom. Now, if you go to Infowars.com, we have the headline, our top story, award-winning filmmaker and, of course, TV star, movie star, former head of the Screen Actors Guild, Ed Asner, has come out and said that he has Navy SEAL sources, and those sources are known to yours truly, and I'm going to try to talk to some of them today, and that they've been told by active duty SEALs that the staged terror attack event is on, and that the events would be staged very, very soon internationally and domestically, but mainly in the Strait of Hormuz, as a pretext to launch a wider war, obviously against Iran. Now, Mr. Clapper, the head of the National Security Council, the head advisor, has come out and said we should have provocations in the Brookings Institute papers, like the general public doesn't read that. Gary Hart's written letters about staging false flag terror attacks and warning Iran. We have all this other news unfolding on this subject, and it's perfect timing. We also have Dick Cheney, who Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Cy Hirsch exposed 4 years ago, was planning to and was ordering the SEALs to paint up their own boats like Iranian blue patrol boats, missile boats, to attack a U.S. destroyer. And Admiral Fallon got word of this. It actually happened 5 years ago. We learned of it 3.5 years ago. As soon as Cheney left office, Hirsch was ready to talk about it for his safety and had White House sources, and it was later confirmed. He's a two-time Pulitzer Prize winner. But the issue here is that this is in the cards. And it's a very, very credible, real, specific threat that criminal elements running our government, the Israeli government, and NATO are set to stage these, and Navy SEALs are warning people. And, of course, it's the Navy SEALs doing it because they were the ones told to do this attack and prepare it. And Fox Fallon, the head of CENTCOM, flipped out and said, I'm not going to do this, and went public and said, we're not attacking Iran on my watch. We're pulling the ships back. We're not going to have a Strait of Hormuz conflict like some people want. And, of course, he got removed. Admiral Mullen, 2 years ago, who was then Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff, went to Israel and said, do not stage a USS Liberty. That was even in the Washington Post. I mean, this is serious. This is real. And so it's Fox Fallon, it's Admiral Mullen. Now it's Navy SEALs. I know one of their names, got their number. I'm going to contact them today. Got it yesterday from Ed Asner, but that article and video is up at Infowars.com. Coming up, TSA forces woman to use naked body scanner 3 times.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run.
We are back live. Thank you so much for joining us. We're here Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. That's 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. And we got Max Keiser coming up in the 3rd hour for a full hour to take your phone calls on the economy and more. And we have Adam Kokesh popping in, dealing with Ron Paul and the amazing job he's doing getting 70+% of military donations compared to all other candidates, not just Republican, but also to Obama. The troops, because they're in on what's really going on, more than general public, no, Ron Paul's the way to go. I love how the corporate prostitute Decepticon media is always acting like the troops want us to stay in war. You know, for the troops, let's stay in Iraq and Afghanistan. For the troops, let's keep bases in 160+ countries. And then you poll the troops, the vast majority want to cut back the size of the military, want to get out of a bunch of countries, and want to come home. Now, are there people who believe the propaganda that America's really under threat and who want to fight for this country? Yes. Are there guys just flat out addicted to combat? Oh, certainly. But the majority of them are amazing professionals who love this country and know that Ron Paul, who's a veteran himself, is trying to uphold our republic and the Bill of Rights and Constitution. In fact, there's an ad with an Air Force commander that Ron Paul's been running that we played on the nightly news last night. Darren McBreen's got it. Will you guys get that so that when Kokesh, a veteran of the Marine Corps in Iraq himself, joins us, we can play that, because I really think it puts it in perspective. And there's a graph that shows, I think in that graph it's 73%. I've seen the number 71, 73, 74, depending on what mainstream news article you look at from the Federal Elections Commission. It varies, but over 70% of military support Ron Paul. What does that tell you? See, they can steal elections at the county, state, and federal level in many areas. It's not total fraud, but they're able to manipulate and twist things. They've been caught over and over again. Ron Paul's pointing out the obvious because he has to. It's reality. He really did win Maine. The anomalies are just like they were in other states he won but got cheated. But you